Hey everybody, welcome to the Rock and Road Show. This is today's episode, but we ain't going outside because it's covered in rainwater. Raining everything from the sky again. And in Colorado when it rains, you don't know what you're gonna get falling down from the sky on top of you. Now they have new hail that has spikes on it and punctures holes completely through your automobile. So I'm going to try to film on the inside. I don't know if there's enough light or not. And we're going to show a couple of different interesting things because I get sick and tired of seeing people's shows who don't show you and tell you anything about skills for off-roading or off-landing or cross-landing or nomading or camping or whatever it is. They don't talk about it. They don't show it to you. They talk about themselves and all their problems. And I want to talk about how to do this stuff, how it functions, and to try and get some projects done. Hopefully this film's not too dark so I don't have to do it again. I didn't do a film yesterday because there was so much rain. It was unbelievable. And it's been raining whole half days in Colorado. And like I said, anything could end up falling down from the sky. Oh, I should just turn this right on the guest of honor. Yep, the star of the show right there. Look at that. I think that's the cutest actress money could buy right there. I think this is the best show star. So, starting out in about 1989, I got out of the Gulf War. I started with my very first four-wheel drive, and I put curtains on the inside. And when I did the curtains on the inside with the very first four-wheel drive, I used what they called pen rods, little tiny little bitty little curtain rods. And the little tiny itty bitty curtain rods were kind of cute. Easy to install with a couple of screws. The only problem is every time that you bounced over a rock or a big dip in the road or your four-wheel drive and you went off-roading or anything like that, those curtain rods wanted to pop out of there and they were really stiff. And then they were extra special stiff when it came to the curtains. And I needed something that was more pliable, putting curtains up inside four-wheel drives. And this is not my first four-wheel drive. This is one of many I've had up. That's a piece of shit Nissan. I've had many four-wheel drives. Oh. And out of the many four-wheel drives that I've had, the best thing I ever found to put, that light has been replaced and been replaced and been replaced. It's still a piece of shit. The best thing I found was yoga pads. And that's what's in my front windshield right now is a yoga pad. And the yoga pads will help keep the heat out in the summer, and they keep the cold out in the winter. I even cut sections of them and made square shaped, pillowcase shaped, or you don't have to make them. I suppose you could actually buy pillowcases, whatever color turns you on. It turns me on to be black and stay in the black, so people don't think you have shiny special stuff in your car and try to rob you. Yeah, because they do a lot of that, especially in Colorado. So they got to pay for their drugs, and mommy and daddy's not supporting them, so they support themselves by robbing you. So I took different types of pads and mats through the years, y'all. The yoga pad covers my entire windshield, and it also covers the entire back window, which helps also for winter time. And then an additional, I also put the curtains in. And I can even put the yoga pad on the outside of the window for when it hails. And through the years when some of my pads get kind of old and wore out, I cut them in squares. And then I put them down inside the pillowcases. And then the pillowcases can be clipped to the windows. I'm going to show you a clip here in a minute. Tons of traffic because that's how Colorado is. It's like Walmart all the time. You can clip the pads to the actual windows and people can't see through, and you don't look like you have curtains. So you're not gonna get rocks thrown at you, you're not gonna get the cops called on you. You're not gonna get the cops stopping by going, "Hi, how's it going? We just wanted to stop by and visit you." Yeah. Stay incognito, blend in, and I just got these cheap little clips, and they were at a Home Depot, and they were, they started out like 10 cents a piece. Then they went to like 29, 39 cents a piece. Then they were like 59 cents a piece. I'm like, oh, for Christ's sake. But they're real tiny and small. I mean, look how small they are compared to my finger. You know, those are pretty little. You don't need anything major and big and stupid and expensive. And I got them so they blend in. Because I don't look like looking like a pig when I have to go somewhere and do something and have all kinds of people harassing me, trying to give me tickets, trying to stop me, trying to climb in my vehicle, trying to check around, trying to see what they can do. I don't need any of that. I just need to get my stuff done and move on. So, the yoga pad I took with scissors and cut it, and I cut it very carefully. I had even cut my dash mat myself out of some carpet from Home Depot. And as soon as it warmed up, it molded to the shape of the dash. And I clamped it up in the corners of whatever it takes. Each car is a little bit different. I took those tiny little clips. I use them as corners. Here's just stuck in the corner and keeps it from falling down. Literally, that's it. And some cars I've had through the years, I clipped them up on top of the visors. So, just clips. And then curtains, back to curtain rods and stuff like that. Alright, so through the years, I've had to figure out curtains because I was camping with pets and traveling, doing lots of stuff. And the metal curtain rods I thought were too stiff. And rope and cloth seems to rot through almost right away, and you have to tie it to something, or you have to get these little tiny itty bitty little tiny hooks, like cup hooks or eyelet hooks that have a complete hole in them. I don't know if you can see this one or not. I don't know. Yeah, kind of. This one has a complete hole, or it was not a hook. I don't know. Either one, doesn't matter. And then you have to tie into that with your rope, and like I said, it rots out, doesn't last as long. So what I ended up doing about 1990-91 is I went to a hardware store and I found these springs, and they're tiny little. Look at the size of my finger. Tiny little. They're narrower than a pencil, and they're for screen doors, but they're also for curtains. That's normal, that's natural. They were really cheap back then. I don't know what they are now. And this is like the third or fourth vehicle I've had them in, four-wheel drive. Because I've been four-wheeling with a big Chevy Blazer I talked about with the 4-inch Rancho lift and the stock car racing engine. And I had a Toyota 4Runner till it was stolen in Colorado Springs. Charming place. And I had a Land Rover. Love my Land Rover, even though it was stolen several times also in Colorado Springs. And I just kept rebuilding and doing those. And what was the last four-wheel drive I had? Oh, this piece of shit. Nissan Xterra. But the Toyota, the Chevy Blazer, full-size Chevy Blazer, half-ton. It had been a diesel. We pulled that out, put a gas engine in it. So full-size Blazer, Land Rover, Toyota 4Runner, Nissan Xterra, and the new one that's coming from Texas is, they were supposed to be coming from Texas, so everything goes well and I'm not getting robbed again, is a Hummer H2. And I don't know if I'll be able to reuse the springs or not, but I'm going to try to reuse the springs. Here's some more light so we can see a little bit more. You can see all that water out there too. So back to curtains. Here comes the curtain here. I thought about it for years. I thought, why does the curtain not go with the direction of the window? Isn't that kind of stupid? When you open your curtains like a little house window, it's so cute. Yeah, it's also stupid. So I made slider curtains by hand. I don't know how you do it or how you'd want to do it, but I know how I did it, and it worked out great. They slide up and down, up and down, and you can still get them at the level you want. And you can even sometimes put them in on an angle if you want to. And the dogs have always loved them because they can hang right onto them, and they hang out that window into the sky like they think they're airborne. Because they hug right up next to the door. I'm not sure how this video is going to look, but at least we're not in the rain. They hang kind of on the door. And I have actually like a tie for that in the middle. And I've had people say, wow, it looks really neat. And these are sun-treated now. They were nicer. And mine, I took fur trim, put fur trim around them because they ended up not fitting this vehicle exactly like the last vehicle. So the springs are pretty easy. They are installed with a simple black flat tip drywall screw. Oh, that's a shitty picture. Let's see if I can find a better one. There you go. That's my Bubbas. I even keep extras because they have a really pointy end. And if you get the right kind of driver, they will go through concrete. And yes, they went through steel. And I use them for repair work on just about anything and everything. I love them. And I also did extra black trim, rubber trim, from the hardware from the door department. I bought black matching rubber door trim also from the door department, and put extra around my doors in my four-wheel drive. All of them. In the hood, in the deck. That's because I was getting moisture where you didn't want moisture, and dirt where you don't want dirt. And I showed some of this before a little bit, but I'll show it again. I did a high temp spray paint down inside every window, door, hood, deck, trim, and then rubber seal coated them because you tend to get a lot of rust down in there. And sometimes I have found bugs trying to nest in there. I'm like, yeah, okay, no, Black Widow, you cannot stay. You have to go. So, the badass screws are my savers, and the rubber seal sprays. It keeps dirt from coming into your four-wheel drive also when you're four-wheeling down the road. And I learned that from the Beamer and the Land Rover, because the Beamer and the Land Rover seemed like no matter where I ever took them, I was not gagging and choking on the dirt that was flying in with my windows up. So I thought, man, that's gotta end. So I started trimming around seals and stuff, and added extra black seals. And here's the neat, cool thing I think about these curtains. I've even put I got like big bungees from like a hardware store with the clip. They're just a bungee cord, and I put them across the inside of the vehicle in a couple places where I wanted them or we wanted them, because in the wintertime, or if you're out swimming or laking or boating or whatever, having a great time, your stuff gets wet and snow, you can hang them up over these. This one's loose. I just didn't tighten it, but it could have a lot more tension to it. And you can hang your stuff there and dry it. It's also great for shutting stuff out and shutting stuff in. Because a couple times her and I were broke down and stuck in the snow in this piece of shit. And we were about to freeze to death and be dead because I couldn't even start it up. So I put something up over these to box me in the back seat area and her with me, so we didn't have a ton of cold air coming from the back coming in, and our breath inside would help keep us warmer. And there are times I want to differentiate and cut the temperature and actually like block out heat. Like for instance, the back of the vehicle sometimes will get really hot depending on where we park when we go bye-byes, and I don't want that heat on me because I'm sitting in the back seat working or something. So I'll put something up over here to keep the heat in the back. But you can do the same thing for the cold. You can keep the cold in the back and the warm up towards the front. And it's a great dryer, dry stuff out. So those were just bungees on the eyelet eye hooks. I did the same thing with the rear back window that you see. It goes the whole way across, but if I do that, I don't think you'll be able to see it. And you just sew curtains pretty easily. They're just basically a box square shape, and you've got to leave something at the top, a seam, so the seam can run up and down on whatever you're using as a curtain rod. And this is another bungee, and I stuck it up because I got lucky with this 4-wheel drive. It has some weird hooks in the ceiling, so I put some D-rings in there, cheap old D-rings, carabiner rings, just really cheap crappy ones. Painted them up nice so they'd look and they'd match, and I put some plastic on them so they don't clinkle when you're driving. Clink, clink, clink. And they don't make a ton of noise when I'm trying to drive. And back here I did the curtains in a different shape, different design. I got lucky, there was more weird hooks back here in this 4-wheel drive up in the ceiling. So I just take that spring when I don't want to see the curtain, blocking my view when I'm driving, and I tucked that spring up in that weird hook. It worked out pretty good. Gave it a lot more tension. I could keep that fur and that stuff back out of the way so I can see, so I don't back over anybody in the parking lot. So, but this one here also had cute little ties to tie it back. And here's that spring, but it's at the top, and there's one at the bottom. It runs on 2 seams back and forth. There's a top and bottom curtain. The way that you would think about curtains in your house, normal curtains. There's that spring. So I did those. Get these closed up again. Yes, Tequila, sit down. Mommy loves you. She wants to start jumping up and happening, and I don't want it happening right now. So through the years, I just like, whenever you have your window and you wind it up and down, you can wind that curtain up and down at any shape, any level you want. It'll go all the way to the top. And how it hooks in the top is, it's got another seam at the top. I seamed the material. Let's see if I can get this in the view so you can see it. It's got another seam. I sewed it at the top by hand. And then what I did is I tucked a piece of rope in there. I found rope that you might use like around like fishing and boating and stuff like that. It's made out of plastic. It's a nylon and it's waterproof. Boy, I sewed it in there good. You can't even see it. It's like yellow or orange usually. It's really dirt cheap. You can get it dirt cheap by the foot at the hardware stores sometimes if they're not out. And you can get it at Walmart in a big spool of it. They used to have it for like $1.98. God only knows what it is now. And then you put the plastic rope down inside the seam. And when you get ready to use your curtain, there's a lip up inside the door frame. You can take that curtain and shove it into cracks. It doesn't hurt anything, and it'll stay in there if you get the right size rope. The first size rope I used, it was way too small. And the second size rope I found, it fit just perfect. And it just fits right in there. It just slides right up in that crack. You put your windows up, your curtains up as high as you want or as low as you want. And I call this an envelope curtain. With the envelope curtain, the reason why is somebody really liked my idea a couple years ago. A young lady who liked my idea so much, she went ahead and helped herself install some of the, yeah, right out of my truck while I was sick. I let her sit in my truck in the snow, and she just took some of my stuff with her. You can take these extra chunks of yoga pad or ergonomic kitchen mat pads in a square section. I've already got a square. And I don't know if I can film this and show you at the same time. Oh, crap. Last thing I need to do is run out of the juice for the battery. And if I got a day I can do this. Yeah, that's my truck starting after I spent a fortune on it. It's set up like a race car, so it shouldn't be giving me a hard time starting, but it still does. Okay, so in that envelope curtain, you can take a pad. So I can get this just right. Kind of tedious, but what I'm doing is down inside this curtain, there's 2 pieces of material. It's only sewn at the edges, where the seam is, where the spring goes through on the sides. Now top and bottom, sides sewn together. Just like an envelope, you want to have that top open, and I even left the bottom open because I can sew nice and tight. I can figure out where I'm going to sew and sew nice and quickly, nice and tight. So I don't know if you can see that. Now it has a pad in it. Here's part of it here at the bottom. This is the pad. It's inside that pillow slip that I made by hand. And I made satin because I like satin. It's easy to keep, it's easy to use, it's easy to clean, washes and dries real quick, and it looks nice. I like it looking nice. Here it is right here. Here's the pad. I just slipped it right down inside those 2 pieces of material and put that extra padding in there. See if I can show you with my arm, my hand, instead of the pad. Here's one piece here. The front piece looks like a fake suede leather. It's fake suede leather. It came from a upholstery place like at Hobby Lobby. The back is like a stamped piece of like Spanish leather. So the back has the darker, prettier, and almost waterproof. I find upholstery material to be some of the best, and if you get just the right stuff, you get the color you want, the design you want, and they're more waterproof. And then, see how my hand sticks down inside? It's way down in there, and it comes right out the bottom. And I stick yoga pad in there, and I call that an envelope curtain. I don't know if you can see that. Alright, so then we got some light, and we saw some curtains, and we saw some pads. Here's a pad again. There's not much to it. It's kind of dark. It's dark on dark, yep, for a reason. I sit on them also and throw them on the seats. It helps keep the seats together looking nice, and then I'll tear up a crappie and crap all over it. I have a dog that likes to eat like a freaking, I don't know what, an animal. She eats like a lion or something. She just rips stuff apart, throws it everywhere on the seats. And when she does that, all I have to do is take this and just shake it outside. It's really easy to throw in a wash, or you can wash it by hand in an emergency. And it just sits right flat, straight on the seat. I have a bunch of them because I like them for the different windows, and it keeps her area squared away so she's not being a pig and having it all over the car. Curtains. I think that, I also keep a bungee between the front and the back. A lot of people like that. Pretend like they're not sleeping in their car. I saw a guy one time using black trash bags. Sometimes I'll put lace there because you need a lot of air through cool. Really nice black lace. If you're someplace you need to take a nap or not have a bunch of sun come in and hit you, and you don't want to have the yoga pad up, you can just drape your black lacy material up here, or whatever color you like and whatever you're doing. I use a blackout because I like it. It makes the whole thing look nice. And I like the everything to match and keep people from thinking you got tons of money when you really don't, or they just want to get in and start fishing around, and they have no business be doing that. They have no business be looking in your car and seeing what you're doing. This is not other people's business. You know, it's not a public restaurant, it's your car. So I think that's it for curtains for today, and curtain rods and things. And I did a little extra handles in this truck here. I also installed extra handles because I didn't have enough, and I like to use them for hanging laundry. More of that, or wet stuff, or whatever's going on. And I took a little bit of bungee, elasticy type cord that matches, put a button on one end of it. I have a little button. Where are we at? This camera's kind of crappy. It's an iPhone. $1,500 iPhone 12. That's crappy. Little button. Stuck it on the bungee. Tied the bungee up on whatever the hell this is. I think it's for coat hangers and men's suits and stuff. I don't know. Flipped it up over the handrail and stuck it in there. So if I ever need an extra little bit of something, because sometimes I've used that bungee to keep the curtain up in like a certain position. I don't want to open it or close it the whole way, or sometimes I've used it to crack the door and keep the door from swinging way out. You get tons of air and the curtain's not falling up and down. You can, it's just a positioner. You can position it a little bit better, I think, and a little more handy. More thunder. We had tons of thunder for the last 2 days. All I've done is done his inside stuff because of all the thunder. Because in Colorado, when you hear thunder, guess what it's going to do? It's coming to the ground. And if you're on the ground, you're free picking. And it doesn't care, it doesn't matter. It will hit you. Tons of people have been hit on golf courses. They were not holding metal golf plugs, sticks, and they were near trees, and the trees didn't get hit, but the golfers did. I know lots of other people have been hit just outside, shorter and lower than a little kid. I know those little kids have been hit. I know a priest that's been hit 13 times. That's a famous story. He was a Greek Orthodox priest. He was hit one time in his shower naked in the middle of a Victorian house in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And another time he was hit by lightning sitting in the passenger seat in their little vehicle going to Wyoming. Somebody else was driving. Lightning came through the window of the car and hit him. He holds the record. He's been seen at the Denver, very famous hospital. Denver has did have the one and only lightning hospital in the world. And he has the highest record. He's been hit by lightning 13 times when I talked to him last, about 10 years ago. Yeah. I wanted to ask him about some things about reincarnation and even his past of whatever he did as a Greek Orthodox priest. I really wanted to know. He didn't want to talk about it very much. He had a hard time talking. Yeah, he had very unique short sentences. I also wanted to hold a magnet by him and a compass and see what it would do, but nobody would let me. I wanted to know because lightning is attracted to magnets, and lightning is attracted to on your compass also too. It makes your compass go crazy sometimes, or it points to the north, but it's not really north. Okay, so that's it for today, I think, for the Tequila Rain on the Rock and Road Show. Talking about curtains on the inside, which is something we really wanted to get done. Because I think it's really important. All the videos I've ever seen that everyone else has ever done, they seem to do weird, strange, stupid shit. Oh, use this little tape. You just put this tape here, and that's gonna help you with your curtain. No. First time it gets hot, that tape is gonna come unglued. It's not gonna stay. And it looks like you're in a UFO and you put all that metal shit up in your windows. It looks like you're got something going on. That attracts weirdos and cops. And they're going to be all over you. Like in Colorado, it's illegal to sit up with your eyes closed. So you will be attracting the wrong person. If you tape or a little bit of Velcro, your aluminum, And oh, my yoga pad, by the way, I folded it in half as I had to cut a seam through the rear view mirror, which I can use to peek out sometimes and see what in God's name is going on now. Who's parked on top of me so I can't get out? Or what weirdo is right on top of me lurking around? But I cut that straight up and down seam so it'll go through the, and then I clip it around the mirror. I've tried different designs. Just cut a straight up and down seam, it'd be fine. Nothing fancy. You don't even have to cut around the corners. Just put it up there, find your middle, cut that seam so it's a straight flat piece of yoga pad. I got one that matches, and I fold it and I sit on it. But I'm short, so it works great. But you can roll them, you can tuck them. I've had them in other cars where I've rolled them and tucked them down in between seats. You couldn't even tell. And I had the space for it. It was nice and trim and out of the way. All right, so I don't think this is too dark. And now it has stopped raining. Now that we're done. So what do you say, Tequila? More food? You ready to eat some snack? I know you are. 24/7. That's all she wants to do. Eat food. She's gonna be 15 here soon. She won't even know she's had a birthday cake. She don't care. As long as it's some kind of food. Eating food all the time. Alright, bye guys. Have a good time. Feel free to ask me some questions. I'll try to answer them if I can. And hopefully you found a way to figure out how to do some good, safe, warm, and sun-blocking curtains. And keeps yourselves alive, safe, and healthy, and protected. And good times for good naps.